Hi and welcome back to this series and videos and just discussions around some of the martial arts. This evening I was hoping to kind of maybe kind of follow on from some of the previous videos discussing kind of the internal martial arts and really kind of focus on Baguazhang just overall. Now, what we know, let's say, from a historical perspective and what we can actually verify is that at some point during the late 1800s and coming to the end of the history or line of the emperors, that a person appeared in the Beijing area named Deng Haichuan, and that he began teaching to a select group of people and students an art called Baguazhang. Now, from most kind of historical research into the area and what can be kind of teased out amongst most of the actual the students or the lines that actually come down, the most kind of notable students that Deng Haichuan would have had would have been Yin Fu, Fu Shenxiong, Ma Gui, Cheng Tinghua, and Liang Zhengpu. So these schools would have been the most popular forms of Baguazhang, drawn, from Deng Haichuan. What we do understand, and which is related, to all, the different schools, and there are slight, variations, between them, is that Deng passed on a set of skills, namely a grouping of sets, called the palm changes, which are the movements linked to it, fixed palm positions, Dengshire. So kind of maybe talking about the initial three palm changes that seem to be kind of mentioned across a number of the different lines. The first one will be the single palm change, then the double palm change, and then the smooth body palm change. Now, the single palm change seems to be ubiquitous to all the different styles. The double palm change would be quite similar in some respects between the different styles as well. When you get to the third palm change, a smooth body palm change, Shunjijang, it does vary across the board. But what we can say is that most of the schools have very similar shapes. There might be slight differences in the kind of the posture and the slight differences between the reasoning behind them, but generally speaking across the board, they do have a lot of parallels and similarities. Maybe kind of talking about the Yin Fu lineage. There is quite a number of different schools among the Yin Fu lineages, and some of them would have been influenced by some of the linear Baguazhang. So there is another student or someone who would have studied with Deng Haichuan, and also other students of Deng Haichuan, including Yin Fu and Cheng Tinghua, and that would have been Lu Dequan. And Lu Dequan, as far as I'm aware, he was a quite talented martial artist, and he was very well known, for his spear work and his weapon work. So you kind of got to understand that during this period of time, it was a very tumultuous political era, and there would have been a lot of cross training and a lot of sharing of ideas between different martial artists to kind of complement the best techniques and the best concepts for dealing with real life situations. As you can understand, encounters that involve weapons and knives, swords, double weapons, those types of situations are a lot more serious than simply dealing with empty hands. But nonetheless, during that time period, you had a lot of these martial artists cross training and sharing ideas with some of the Xingyichuan schools as well. And what you have kind of blossoming after that is a kind of a relationship between a number of these schools where they would have both trained in Xingyichuan, Baguazhang, and maybe Tai Chi Chuan and other methods of internal martial arts or internal boxing. But maybe kind of going back, let's say like go to the single palm change, the double palm change, and the third palm change, smooth body palm change. These would be seen as the nucleus, so to speak, of Baguazhang, and each one of the styles like go thereafter. You would see, let's say like go quite a difference like go between their, let's say, advanced or more expressive forms. So what you tend to have, let's say like after learning the fixed palm positions, dengshi, you would tend to have, let's say like the Lao Baozhang or Ba Mushang, which is Lao Baozhang means the old 8 palms, or Ba Mushang means like the 8 mother palms, or the kind of the initiating like set of palm changes. And then like in other styles like you have the 64 like palm changes, or you might have, let's say like Yoshin Baguazhang, which is the dragon, let's say like body or dragon kind of shape, let's say like moving like forms. You also have like Yoshin Lianhuanzhang, which is the dragon shape, linked or interconnected forms as well. And maybe kind of cross-referencing like some of the styles, like Chongtinghua style would have had like quite a heavy emphasis on grabbing, throwing, sui jiao, which is throwing methods, joint body control methods. A lot of the Chong family type of maneuvers, they do focus on very quick, brutal breaks and kind of jars like on the appendages of the body. So some of the moves like almost as the person comes in, it's like a meat grinder or a cyclone. Basically one let's say limb comes in, that limb gets broken, and while that's happening then they're being hit, let's say, with a very powerful strike. If I was contrasting, let's say, some of the Yin Fu styles, and there is quite a variety of them, but just kind of generally speaking, there tends to be more kind of like emphasis on percussion, and control and joint locking on the body, as well as a very heavy emphasis on the stepping patterns, and also on conditioning as well. You would tend to find, let's say, that from my own understanding of it, that Yin Fu, let's say, would have practiced a number of the Shaolin boxing methods. Some say he practiced low hand boxing, others stated he practiced snake boxing. You can kind of see kind of elements, let's say both, let's say within the Yin Fu style. But then you've got to say something like Liang Xingpu, and as far as I understand, Liang Xingpu would have been the last student of Dong Haichuan, coming to kind of his old age or before he passed away. And as my understanding goes as well, Liang Xingpu would have continued his studies with Yin Fu and Chongtinghua as well, just to kind of get the best of both worlds. So Liang style really is almost like a composite, let's say of two particular styles. If I was talking about, let's say Fu Shenzhong's style, it's a very unique, let's say style. There's a very heavy emphasis on the stepping patterns. There is a lot of spinning on the ball of the foot, and the rotations kind of, it's almost like a kind of a cyclone effect, some of the changes that are in Fu Shenzhong's style of Baguazhang. But I mean, all of these, let's say, things they all do kind of boil down, let's say to personal preferences, and how maybe someone wants to kind of maybe embellish their style or work on their particular strong points or good points. But I mean, overall, the kind of the nucleus of Baguazhang, as I said, is the three main palm changes and the fixed palm changes. Each one of those palms relates to a particular part, let's say on the human body. Let's say you could have, let's say the line holds the ball posture. You could have, let's say, the heaven palm posture where you're holding both hands up. And each one of these particular positions, if you're holding them in a standing posture, or if you're actually doing, let's say continuous changes along the circle, the movement of the waist, it does according, let's say the Chinese alchemy, and also the Chinese healing methods. It does stimulate like with the chi or the flow of chi in certain parts of the body. From my own kind of, let's say, like a training with Wang Wei Yue, and one of the other like kind of options when you are holding like these particular positions, instead of using, let's say, like the open, let's say, like a palm, let's say, you can change like the palms like with different kind of shapes. So for example, this would be, let's say, the dragon shape palm. This would be, let's say, like the lion's mouth shape palm or grabbing palm. You could also have, let's say, like the sword, let's say, finger, let's say, like a shape. So for example, you could be, let's say, like holding these particular shapes, like moving around like with the circle, and according, let's say, like to the chi practices, like holding, let's say, like your hand out, let's say, like this in these particular positions, allows like for the absorption of chi. The only way I could kind of almost like describe it, and the way kind of, let's say, Wong like described it to me, is almost like your body is acting like an antenna. So it's so having, let's say, like a point out like this is almost like allowing, and let's say allowing, let's say, the chi like to flow through, let's say, that, and through like the rest of the arm. So there is like quite a corresponding, let's say, like a benefit like to a number of these palms. And I mean, overall, the kind of the general idea, let's say, of Baguazhang is that it's almost like a finishing school for Chinese Kung Fu. You learn like to be free and to be unfettered in your mind, so you're able to react at a moment's notice, and you're also able like to adapt like very quickly. It's a style like that's meant like for fighting multiple opponents. One of the stories involving Dong Haichuan is that when he was one of the servants in the emperor's palace, he was noted like for his ability like to move around, let's say, like like from chair to chair, and like from table to table, like with multiple, let's say, like crockery and plates. And there are, let's say, like a number of, let's say, like training methods in the Jibing Gong Fa, which are the basic training methods in Baguazhang, such as like the teacup exercises, like where these type of like rolling like circular motions are like used like to build up like certain like kind of energies and whipping power. I mean, like overall, let's say, kind of Baguazhang, and let's say maybe some of the kind of like the tracing of its origins. Some people believe, let's say, like that Dong Haichuan would have trained in some of the Taoist, let's say, monastic traditions which predate, let's say, the art known as Baguazhang, whereby people, let's say, would have been holding fixed positions and walking around like in a circle in a meditative aspect, and these particular positions would have been related, let's say, like to the nourishment of chi within particular like organs. What people think, or what kind of some historians think, is that Dong Haichuan would have taken a number of, let's say, like these ideas, the changes and the footwork like related like to the meditative aspects, and then put a martial arts spin on them. So I mean, a number of like the kind of the arts like which Dong Haichuan is supposed to have like studied like would include, let's say, Lo Han Chuan, which is the Buddhist fist, allegedly like Fan Zi Chuan, which is the kind of the overturning on the rolling fist, Hong Chuan, which is one of the other, let's say, like Shaolin fists, which focuses on a lot of, let's say, like these type of big kind of rolling like movements, and also, let's say, like integrating like those ideas with whatever other, let's say, concepts like that he picked up over time, and basically fused them into this small grouping of sets and applications like based off them. So I mean, overall, it's like Baguazhang like as an art and as a martial art and as a spiritual health and healing art, it's very complete. There are, let's say, like some, let's say, lines and lineages of Baguazhang which are very, very complete as regards like with the healing, the training, the iron body, or let's say the conditioning, let's say, like of the human body. But likewise as well, like some of the sets like are very detailed as well, regarding, let's say, how to break or dislocate a joint like very easily. I remember, let's say, like some of the kind of the training like with Wong and with some of his students when I was in France, and like some of the actual the actual joint locks, etc. I actually felt physically sick in my stomach, and in other parts of my body after having some certain joint locks put on, especially the finger locks, the wrist locks, the elbow locks, and the kind of the shoulder locks. I can almost kind of remember, let's say, one day, let's say, when I had, let's say, one particular, let's say, strike, shown, let's say, here, underneath, let's say, with the chin, let's say, you're using the Ligua or the monkey palm, and I actually felt like throwing up after it. So I don't think it's psychosomatic. I do think with that certain, let's say, chains of nerves along with the human body, they are obviously all interlinked, and hitting a certain nerves or kind of nerve bundles, it does affect the organs, let's say, over time. But I mean, overall, let's say, with the art of Baguazhang, if you're dealing with a single opponent, it does have some very punishing and, let's say, almost I would describe as crippling techniques, whereby you either, let's say, destroy the person's movement, either their ankle or their knee, or you're breaking one of the other, let's say, extremities, either the clavicle, the elbow joint, or the wrist. So once you break something like that, it's very hard, let's say, for an opponent, let's say, to continue the fight, or to continue, let's say, hitting you. Once you get something like that broke, when you're unable to actually hit with it and it's loose, it's pretty much a moot after that. So just to kind of close up with this video, I will be sharing, let's say, in the next coming weeks, a couple more, let's say, videos concerning, let's say, the third palm change, and also more applications on the single and the double palm change as well. And I'm also hoping to share some of the Qigong methods that I would have learnt while studying Baguazhang with Wong, and these would include Baguazhang, which is the 8th section brocade, and also Baguazhang, which is some of the standing breathing and health postures, which basically open up, let's say, with the body, let's say, with the breathing, let's say, from around, let's say, the diaphragm and the ribs, and you're basically kind of filling up your body. There are a number of visualizations which come with this, as in imagining holding spheres in your hands, propping up a sphere underneath your armpit, on your elbow, etc. So there are a number of, let's say, visualizations and mindfulness exercises which come along with that as well, and as well as visualizations. But we'll get more into that as the kind of the weeks progress. So I'd like to thank you just for watching another one of the videos this evening. I hope it's been informative, and if you have any questions, you can contact us on our Facebook page or our YouTube page. Thanks.